everyone, and welcome to the Indie Author Life Show, a space dedicated to sharing the unique stories of authors and creatives within the self-publishing space. My name is MG Hunt, and today I'm here with a fabulous indie author, Julie Kay, and we're here to chat about all her writing achievements and how writing fits in to her daily life. So thank you so much, Julie, for coming on the show. I know we wanted to make this happen for a while, and when I had a slot free, I was like, got to email Julie because I guess, maybe met the first time in person at All Booked Out Fest in
Yeah, I think it
Ballarat.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Monica. I'm rapt to
Yes.
be here. So thanks again for
Oh,
inviting me. Very
awesome.
exciting.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear
Yes.
that. No, we
So we
met
did
in,
meet at All Booked
mm,
Out, and that
yeah.
was a fantastic event that Coven
Yeah, the
Press,
Coven Press.
ladies, Coven
Yes.
Press. No,
Yeah.
I never know how to pronounce their name, but
No, no.
they're amazing. Yeah.
Mm. They are
So,
friends of the show. They have been on the show
yes.
before, and it was such a joy to chat with all of them because they're all quite young and they all have like a vision for how they want self-publishing to kind of be a tool, like how their services, and they all are, there's four of them, and they all have individual skills and talents and how
Mm.
they want to offer these skills to the indie author community, because there's a lot out there that we were just talking about off recording. A lot of
Yeah.
things to learn.
I know. I met
Mm,
I know Alana, who's
mhm,
one of the girls. She worked for a hybrid publishing
yeah,
company that the Ties That Bind was involved with. So I met her through that, and yeah,
yeah.
she's been fantastic. So that she's done a bit of editing for me and also formatting for
Yeah,
Ingram Spark. So there, I
perfect.
had trouble with the cover,
Yeah,
and they were fantastic.
yeah. It's those little
So I highly
things.
recommend them.
Yeah, absolutely. Those little things that are a bit hard to navigate yourself. So they're
Yes.
great for that. They're great for that. But
Especially when you're a dinosaur with technology, it's
I don't
quite
know.
difficult.
I think they don't make it user friendly. So I will say that for someone who
Yeah,
is on the computer all day, I struggle with it sometimes. So
yeah,
yeah,
well,
you're
that's
not
good to
alone.
know.
You're definitely not alone. But more about you. I would love to know a bit more about your background.
Well, I grew up in the Bayside suburb of Edithvale in Melbourne,
Nice.
and went to the local school, local high school. Ended up, and I think I was talking to you about this before, becoming a dental nurse at the end of my schooling. Did want to be a teacher, but that never happened for me.
Mm.
So I did dental nursing, and back in those days, dentists weren't that nice. They're not like nice like they are now.
Mm.
So I was working for a bit of a crotchety old guy. And
Oh.
anyway, I got qualified, and then my big dream was to travel the world. So I was one of
Mm.
those young backpackers that took off and went around the world, and was only going to go for 3 months, but ended up 2 years over there. And yeah, got a lot of great life experience and everything like that. Came home from there, and then decided that I wanted to go back to school. So I went back to night school, doing dental nursing as well
Oh,
during the
okay.
day,
Yep.
studying, got my degree, and then became a teacher. So
Wow.
it's been a bit of a journey, and in between all that, got married, had two beautiful children, and yeah,
Wow.
and always loved writing. Like I journaled a lot, and
Mm.
apparently a girlfriend of mine that we grew up together, she said, I remember you saying you wanted to write that big Australian novel, even when I was younger. I don't remember that, but
Mm.
yeah.
Funny how other
So
people
yeah,
remember
always
about
just loved
us.
dabbling with writing.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, I think it's
Yeah,
natural for teachers to also want to, I think they're natural communicators. So writing doesn't seem like it's too far-fetched
no,
for something that they want to do
not at
to
all.
explain how they see the world. And so when you were traveling, whereabouts did you end up traveling to?
Well, originally I was going with a girlfriend, and she fell in love, got a boyfriend, and decided not to come. So I
Oh,
ended up doing a Kentucky tour on my own.
yep.
I was, I think,
Mm.
20, 21.
That's how you do
and
it.
met a couple of Aussie girls, and they said, "Why are you going home? Like, why don't you stay?" And I thought,
Stay.
"Why don't I stay? I've really got nothing, apart from my family to go home to."
That's
So
right.
ended up we got a flat in Notting Hill, actually, Ladbroke
Okay.
Grove.
Yeah.
It does feature in a few of my stories,
Wow.
and I got a job, stayed in London, and then my girlfriend and I decided to go to the Middle East, and we went to Egypt, and then worked on a kibbutz in Israel.
Oh
So
my
that
goodness.
was really fast, and then came across to Greece and worked in Crete. But a funny story, on our going away party in London, my girlfriend broke her leg. Debbie, her name is,
Oh,
broke her leg on the dance floor, and we were
oh,
leaving in a week's time.
oh,
So we had that big, of course we can't go to
no.
Egypt. This is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah.
But what else were we going to do? So I put her backpack on mine. We put my backpack on wheels, and she
Oh,
was on crutches. And we ended up going over. And luckily for us, because to work on a kibbutz back then in Israel, you had to be physically
yeah.
fit,
Yeah.
capable.
Mm.
But they put us on a kibbutz up near the Lebanese border, and it had a factory. And so Debbie could work in the factory. And then I was working, and I was
Oh
working in
my
the
God.
avocado fields. I was working in the laundry. I was working all over the place. But Debbie was able to sit down and work in this I think it was a light bulb factory. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Just something
we were
so
crazy.
random. Yeah. But it's funny how
Yeah,
things have a way of working out when they're kind of like meant to be. So it was meant to
yeah,
be that you two were meant to go to Egypt and Israel and do all that stuff. I think that there
yeah,
was something that was like, no, you have to make this happen and learn a lot of things about
definitely,
that world.
definitely makes you grow up
Oh,
quickly. So
yes, yes. But
you've
that's the
only got
best thing to
yourself
do.
to rely on.
Well, that's it too. And I think it's the best way to throw yourself into the deep end to just go and experience a different culture and also realize that your world is so different, maybe to
Oh,
how it is on the opposite
absolutely.
side. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
so amazing to hear that it
Yeah.
was.
And then,
Mm,
but coming home, it was interesting because, I was little bit older. And,
mm,
so from there, I
mm.
decided I'd come home, say hi to everybody. And then I went up to Alice Springs. Another girlfriend of mine
Ah,
was living and working in Alice Springs.
yeah.
And I went up there, and dental nursing has been wonderful for me. I got a job at the local dentist,
Yeah.
played netball for the Piggly Wigglies,
Oh,
was the
love
name
it.
of our team.
Love it.
It was a supermarket up there. And one of the girls worked for the Flying Doctor Service. And she said, "Oh, they're after dental nurses to go out,
Oh,
into the communities and everything
yeah.
like that." And I said, "Oh, I'd love to do that." So I ended up doing that.
Yeah.
And, getting on a small plane,
Oh,
flying out to all the different communities, setting up, in a shed with the dentist. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
such a transferable
So,
skill.
yeah,
And
I know.
medical
Who would have
stuff is.
thought?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny you say that because like yeah, um the medical field is always looking for people. It's something like we all need. So I think you
yeah,
picked a
of
really good one. And
course.
then you picked another excellent choice with going into
That's
dental.
right. Yeah. So when I came home and decided, and it was nothing in my family to re-educate yourself or to go
Mm.
back to school. My
Mm.
father,
Yep.
my first novel, Not My Father, is loosely based on my dad's life. He was in occupied Japan at the end of World War II,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
ended up later in life getting post-traumatic stress syndrome from whatever happened to him in Japan, and we never actually knew what it was. That's
No.
the made-up part of the story. But
Mm.
Dad came back from the war, well, back from the Navy, and he was in the Navy for 20 years. And when
20
they
years.
said, you do you want to leave? We can give you two options. You can be a teacher, or you can be a Commonwealth policeman. And Mum and Dad discussed it and said, "Oh, I think teaching, with the holidays and everything." So
Yeah.
he went to a private school
Yeah.
and became the PE teacher,
Ah,
because
PE
in those
teacher.
days the private schools really wanted the
Hmm.
dad was a petty eye officer, which means he trained the
Yeah.
naval people, naval
Yeah.
guys. So
Very physical.
Dad ended up working at Brighton Grammar,
Hmm.
and he educated. He went back to school because he loved teaching so much. He did the same as me. He got a degree and came back as a history and English teacher.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
In the
yeah. So
family.
they actually still at Brighton Grammar, they because Dad coached the first 18s team to win the premiership way
Wow.
back in the day, and
Yeah.
the club is named after my dad.
Oh,
So
how
the footy
fantastic.
club
And that's
now,
the footy club.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the Dells
Wow.
Hill Club.
There you
So yeah,
go. Bit of
so yeah,
history.
so going back to study was never a
Mm-hmm.
thing in my house. It was
Yeah.
always accepted that you could do that. So
Absolutely. And I think it's so common now that people are going back to study.
the
There.
beauty with I think the younger generation too is
Mm.
that they're not stuck in the one career like we were. I mean, I did
Yes.
have a couple of different careers, so I was a little bit different. But a
Yeah.
lot of people I know just had the one career, and that was all they could thought that
Yes.
they were ever
Yes.
going to do. So
You do make good points around wanting to do something different other than what you
yeah,
studied. And I think self-publishing and writing is
oh,
also
yeah.
a very clear expression of that as well. So,
Definitely, that's been the
yeah.
biggest learning curve, I think, the self being an indie
Yes.
author,
Yeah.
definitely. Like people will say like the writing part, we joke, is it the easy part,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's all the other stuff that we have to do.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
right. And I
crazy,
remember listening to like
crazy.
a podcast or something where they were talking about, um, you know, a lot of the time when you are a musician, for example, and someone who's maybe trying to put their work out there, like a recording artist and all that stuff, there is not much time. Like you get to a point where your music creation is only like maybe 5% of what you do on
Yeah,
a daily or weekly schedule because it is so much about engaging with the industry and marketing
yeah.
and putting yourself out there and kind of making your presence known and the admin and all that other stuff
Oh,
that comes
yeah.
with it as well. So perhaps that leads me into my next question, which is how does writing fit in to your
My life.
life schedule? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I retired this year,
Hmm.
so it fits very well
Great.
in.
Awesome.
But
Congratulations.
before that, when I was working, I mainly wrote weekends, to be
Mm,
honest. Teaching's, such a full-on job, and there's a lot of paperwork involved in it that I couldn't sort of. I'm not one of those. I'm not a night owl. Like there's no way at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night I would get my computer and start writing. It's just not the best time for me. But I could write easily on a Saturday and Sunday and thoroughly enjoy it.
mm,
And because I am an indie pub author,
yeah.
I've got no time lines. No one's telling me that this has to be done by a certain date. If
Mm,
I get writer's block or it's just not working for me, it's no drama. I just don't do it.
yep.
But I managed to get the books out, so
You did. Yeah.
it
So
sort of works.
it does
But
work. Mm, mm,
yeah, so with the my first book, which was published in 2019,
yep.
that was interesting because I knew nothing about this world of
Yeah.
publishing, and it's interesting how the story actually came along, and it's in the book. A girlfriend of mine was having a Clairvoyant come, and we could pay $50, and we had a glass of champagne, some cheese and bickies, and then when we go and speak to this lady. So I thought, oh, look, I'll do it. Everyone else
Oh,
was doing
great.
it.
Yeah.
And she was a lovely lady. And, she told me about, my daughter Annie is going to have a child and this and all, really exciting
And it
things.
came
And
true.
that was nice. That was really nice. And then at the end of it, I was about to leave because we were in a room, and she said to me, "Wait a minute, there's someone here. They're going to think I'm a nut job,
No,
but this
I love
truly
this
did.
stuff.
This
I love this.
truly
Yeah.
happened. This is how I became a writer. There's someone here and they want you to tell their story." And I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" And she said, "There's someone here and they want you to tell their story. They're happy for you to tell their story." And I said, "It's my dad, isn't it?" And she said, "Yes."
Wow.
And so that's how Not My Father came, because it was a very private thing, Dad having post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like, we didn't, tell the world
No.
that.
No.
It was very private, and there was
Yeah.
some terrible, terrible times with that what happened with Dad.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, he wants me to tell his story. So that's how that book came about. I sat down and I wrote the story. And I don't know if I ever would have become a writer if that hadn't have happened to me.
Wow.
So
So they were real, the
yeah.
spirits and your dad
Yeah,
were
I know.
really
I
telling you.
seriously am a normal person. This really happened. But and then of course I had to go, well, I know nothing about publishing. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yep.
No idea.
Yep.
So I ended up doing a bit of Googling and everything, and I went through a lovely company in Western Australia, and they published the book for me. And my niece did the cover design, and she
Yes.
she
Which I
did
have to
that
bring that
beautiful
up.
cover. Yeah,
Which is the one, I'm just going to type it into my computer on the other
yeah.
side. So it's Julie.
I've got it here. I don't know
Oh, yeah,
at
yeah,
your work.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
want. Yeah, there we
So
go.
that,
So,
yeah,
yes,
that's the
beautiful.
cover.
Yeah,
And yeah, she
so
designed all of
special.
that. And then this lovely company, Vivid
Vivid.
Publishing, they published it for me. And then I went through all that. What the hell am I thinking? Who's going to read this? Like, oh my God, it was the worst feeling in the
Yeah.
world. Thinking,
Mm,
what have I done? I ordered 100 of them. I had my friends came around and we had like a little book launch, which was lovely. But once I did my circle of friends,
yes.
and their friends, that
Yep.
was it then. I had,
Yeah.
no, I didn't have social media. I didn't have anything. But my niece who did the cover put me on Instagram,
Yes.
and I was out there in the world, and it was like, oh, I feel sick, the whole let
Yeah.
me be in my cave writing. I don't want to go out there in the world and do this. But
Mm,
look,
mm, mm.
I think since those days, I've certainly come out of my comfort zone a
Yeah.
lot. And I think as an author, you have to do that.
Yep. Yep. Because there's so
If
many
you
opportunities.
absolutely. And I say to people, if you want to write a book, write a
Yes.
book. Like,
Agreed.
you don't have to have it for the world to see.
No.
Some people, they want to do their memoir, they want to,
Do
do
it.
that, do it. But,
Yes.
if you want to be like you and I and get our books out there to as many readers as can,
Yep.
well, then we have to have a presence out there.
You
So,
do. You do. And I think that's
yeah,
great, a great perspective that you have from feeling really uncomfortable putting yourself out there because it doesn't feel natural when we think
no,
of how the creative works and the creative brain works. For me, and I'm sure for you, it feels very solitary and it feels very like safe in a
yes,
cave,
yeah,
in a cave,
yeah,
um,
definitely.
the metaphorical cave where it
It
is
is my
our
cave.
yeah, that's right, the
Yeah.
cave,
The
where
cave can move, the cave can move. You
the
can go
cave
to a
can move.
library and,
The cave can move.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Mm.
But it is so comfortable to have just you and the writing instrument, probably.
Yes.
Always laptop for me, but I know some people that
Yeah.
just put pen to paper and do their whole
No,
thing. No, or some people have
no.
written whole stories on their phones. I've
I know,
talked with
it's
authors.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it's very yeah,
Personal, isn't it? Very personal.
personal. It is.
Yeah.
And when it comes to marketing, I don't think any of us authors really have a very clear idea about how to approach this, unless you have maybe a marketing degree or something
Exactly.
like
Or
that.
journalism or something. Yeah.
Journalism. We're just doing
Yeah.
what we want to do. But with social media, I do think one of the benefits to it is that it is a place where it is accessible and we can make a platform and just go from there. Now, how you choose
Yeah.
to use that, that's the next step. That's
Yeah.
always a struggle.
Um,
Mm.
I think in the early days, I was very negative about Instagram. I was like, oh God, I've got to go on. I've got to make a post. I've got to do this. Oh,
Yeah.
yuck.
Yuck.
And then I realized, I thought, come on, this is a free place. Like, embrace it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I have an author page now, and I'm very proud of it. If it ever got hacked, I think I'd be in a corner rocking
I
somewhere, or
know. Oh,
it
God.
terrifies me.
Oh,
But
yeah. Mm,
yeah,
mm.
I've sort of worked on it, and
Yep. You should be
I
proud.
don't do what everyone else does. I don't do reels.
Yep.
I'm not good at stuff like that. But
Sure. Yeah.
getting out there a little bit.
It
So
is. And I
yeah,
think I look at social media as like a portfolio of your stuff that you're putting out there. When it comes to like, amount of likes and all that stuff, I think it's redundant because
yeah,
I can tell you now there have been opportunities that have landed on my doorstep from my little TikTok account that really
yeah,
only gets about 6 likes per video,
yeah.
that
Okay.
people have reached out to me, like bookshops and other places have reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to stock with us?" So if
Yeah,
you
fantastic.
it really doesn't matter about the numbers. Truly, it's about the connection and
Yeah,
having your stuff out there that's purposeful and reflects who you are is always going to be a springboard for someone to find you on the internet and maybe give you a chance. You just never know.
definitely. And I think the other thing too is I've connected with a lot of the Bookstagram community,
Yeah,
and they've been wonderfully supportive of
wonderful.
my stuff. So yeah, very, very lucky. So
It's so great to hear that. And it
mm,
really goes to
mm.
show that it's never too late to start putting your stuff
No,
on social
no,
media. Just go for it. You never know what's going to
definitely.
happen. And you can curate it
And
how you want to do it and you use it how you want to use it.
exactly. And I don't worry about that. I don't worry,
Mm.
I never do anything horrible or anything, but I just put my stuff on and that's me,
That's it.
It's yeah.
That's how it
So
should be, in my opinion. I
yeah,
think it should be an expression of you because people want to know who you are. They see the book, that's all well and good, but there is a missing piece sometimes where people go, "Oh, I want to know," especially with something that is so personal, like Not My Father. I think
yeah.
people want to see or maybe get an insight into the creator behind that
Yeah,
because it's such a
definitely.
special book, Not My Father.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And the cover
Oh,
that your
thank
niece
you.
designed was full of heart.
Mm.
And I think it really reflects like the Japanese aesthetic,
Oh,
but also,
definitely.
yeah, it really links the two together with the two worlds. Because for people that might not, uh, might not be watching and just listening, the cover has two figures on the front of it. There's a man and a woman. One of them
Yeah.
has a navy outfit. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. And then the woman next to him is wearing a pink
Yeah.
outfit with um an umbrella, pink umbrella, and then there's some
Yeah.
sakura cherry blossoms around
Yeah.
the
She did a
couple.
beautiful job. She's very
Yeah.
talented. She actually has done
Yeah.
all of my covers except the ties that bind.
Ah,
She
yes,
didn't do that
yes.
one.
Which we'll have to get into that
So
too. Did she do
yes.
Crikey Roo as well?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That is
Isn't that
amazing.
gorgeous?
It is a
Yeah.
gorgeous cover. So for people just
Yeah.
listening, this is Julie's next book, which is is it middle grade? Is that
Middle
right?
grade. Yep.
Middle grade
Yep.
book. And it's
Yeah.
called Crikey Roo and the Riddler. And it's got a group of, I think, four, yeah, thank you. No,
They're
five,
on their Malvern Stars,
yeah, on the
group of
Malvern Star
kids from the 70s.
kids from the 70s. And they're
Yeah.
riding their bikes. And we've got 5 kids and a dog riding their
Yeah.
bikes in the
No.
neighborhood. So it's
Molly
awesome.
did that cover as well. So yeah, very
Beautiful.
talented. And then this one she did.
Yes,
This one's a little bit special, the Riverbend. So this is actually
Riverbend.
my daughter.
Oh, wow. So Julie has her
Yeah,
daughter on the cover, and her daughter's wearing a yellow dress, and she's got
yeah,
her brown hair in a ponytail. And then behind that
yep,
on the cover, there is beautiful red flowers or
yep.
pinkish.
Red
Yeah,
gum nuts. Is that what
gum
they are?
nuts.
Gum flowering
Yes,
gums, flowering
flowering
gum
gum
tree.
behind her.
Flowering
So
gum
that's
tree.
also a beautiful, beautiful cover there. Very
Yeah,
personal, and I think that's what I really
very.
love about.
And that's
Mm, mm,
I know that there's a lot of authors have the same size books. They have the same type of cover, but
yeah.
I've just always just
Yeah.
done what feels good with the story.
That's it.
So
That's what you should
yeah.
do. And I think when
Mm.
your books are like that, because they are individual stories as well, like I don't think you have any that are in like a series, is that
No,
right? Yeah.
no.
So then it makes sense for them all to be unique and how they're meant to look, different sizes, different covers,
Yeah.
different
Yep.
styles of writing your name. Perfect.
Different genres. So that's sort of
Yes.
interesting
Mm.
because I was reading somewhere that a lot of readers don't like authors to change their genres. They just like them to have, the one thing. But I write for what I like. I read. I
Yeah.
read very widely in different genres. So
Yeah, I
You know,
find
it
that
was
so
never a
interesting.
problem for me to write a historical romance, then to write a
Yeah.
small town romance, then to write a middle grade story. It was,
No.
you know, who knows
No.
what I'll write
Well,
next?
this is it. Like, I do find that a strange critique for people to make because you can't, I think that the author is not a commodity and your name is not necessarily like, yes, it's a brand, but it's more than that. So
Mm,
you're not just like, oh, Adidas makes these type of
yeah,
shoes or,
runners.
you
Yeah,
know, makeup from this brand is this type of makeup. It's like, no, we are people that want to explore different things.
definitely.
Yes,
Definitely. That, you know,
mm,
yeah.
mm. No, it'll be really exciting to see what genre you write into next. What do you find most enjoyable about writing versus what you find is the hardest?
Okay. Well, I'll probably start with the hardest. And for some reason, I really get bogged down in dialogue.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I can just go, come on, finish this conversation. You know, he said, she said, and then, you know, I've got to try and work it out. And oh, yeah, I
I'm with you
just,
there.
yeah, really find that tricky. And I find that really got into audiobooks lately, listening to audiobooks, and
Love
I've
that.
found that's really helped because you're actually listening to a lot
Mm,
of dialogue and you realize that it actually doesn't have to have a he said, she said type thing. It can be,
yep.
then he moved towards the door and closed it in her face or something, you don't,
Yes.
yeah,
I
it's,
love that.
yeah.
I
So
think I need to do
dialogue,
that.
I do,
Mm.
I mean, I enjoy writing it, but I just find it very
I
tricky
don't find
sometimes.
it easy, truly. And I
Mm,
think it's interesting that you say that because your books are contemporary. Um, and I mean, I know that I would find a very similar struggle if I wrote in contemporary, but the part that I find really hard with dialogue is when I'm writing in fantasy and
yeah,
I am conscious about, well, is this like way that someone would say that? Is that kind of relevant for a fantasy context? I don't know. And then
yes,
I doubt myself and
yeah,
all that stuff. But I think I just have to trust what the character would be like in the situation. And I think that's what helps
yeah.
me through, but it doesn't come naturally to me.
No, no.
So,
And sometimes you write and you go, it's so stilted. People
yes.
don't actually talk like that. So then you've got to put a yeah and a whatever in it. And then
I
Google how do you
know.
spell
Modernize
these
it.
things,
Oh,
these
it's so funny when
sounds.
that
And
happens.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can get into the next part of that question, which is
Yep.
what you enjoy most about writing.
Oh, wow. I really enjoy the descriptive parts of writing.
Yeah,
Um,
love that.
yeah, I sort of, if I like I love riding outside, got a really nice outdoor area, and I often just sit there and listen. And, I can put those descriptive parts in. That's why I really love the second draft because, you
Mm,
get your words down on the first draft. And then when you go back through it, I really enjoy adding,
yes.
that sort of,
Build it
I
up.
want people to feel where the scene is and where it's set and everything like that. The sound, the touch, everything.
It's
The
awesome.
five senses. I really enjoy
Yes.
that part. And I've got into a little bit of competition writing, creative writing, short stories.
Cool.
So
Love
that I
that.
really enjoy doing as well. And sort of like to write a book takes over a year and a half. For me, it does anyway.
Oh yeah.
And
Longer
it's a
for me.
long process.
Mm.
So to have a couple of competitions, you look at your emails, I wonder how I went. I'm not,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
always not always successful, lots
That's all
of
right.
non-success,
You got to
but I've
be in
had a
it.
couple of wins, and
Oh, that's
it's
amazing.
been wonderful. So I've
How
really
great's
enjoyed
that?
that side, and it's a whole different way of writing because
Yeah.
it could be 2,000 words. You really,
It's
to get a good
hard.
short story, you've got to have that little twist at the end, that little,
Oh,
wow, sort of thing. So, yeah, I really find that challenges me. So,
yeah. I mean, 2,000 words. I don't know how I could approach that. And to be honest, I've never tried.
yeah,
But it's yeah, that's a bit thrilling because you can get it
yeah,
done and you go, oh, right, I've got to make
yeah.
this hit and you've been able to do it.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
I've had a couple last year. I had a couple of good ones. I was
Wow.
Mansfield writers and readers and writers. and I was in their anthology, so I was
Oh,
really, really happy. And it's just the confidence boosting thing as well, you know. So I was long
absolutely.
listed. I wasn't shortlisted or anything
Doesn't
amazing
matter.
like that, but
You made it.
you know, I was very happy with that. So,
Yeah,
and
as you should
then I
be.
also had what was it? I've got it written down somewhere. Mentone Centenary Library thing won that competition. So yeah, so
It's
it
it.
gives you a couple of little exciting wins along the way
Yeah, yeah, which you
that you
need.
yeah
Yeah, because it can
say,
feel
look, okay,
solitary.
you're
And
in your cave, you're riding away, but maybe you can do,
yes,
maybe you're not too
exactly.
bad.
That's
Yeah,
right. We should always
yeah,
be, it's hard.
positive.
Ah, it's hard to be positive sometimes and to go, oh, does anyone care about my writing and all
Mm,
that stuff? But no, it's more than that. And I think that
yeah,
it's an expression of what you want to do and your creative expression. And, it's a bonus when you get to
yeah.
win these
Oh,
things as
100%
well.
bonus. But even coming on this podcast, I'm like,
Yeah.
who the hell wants to listen to me? And then I'm thinking, no, stop
Nah,
it. You've got
exactly.
4 indie books out there. You've got to have something positive and give somebody some good
Well,
advice,
this is right.
hopefully.
There could be someone listening that has
Yeah,
never thought they could write a book, and then they've listened to your
exactly.
story about the memoir and how the clairvoyant gave you
Yes,
that boost. Imagine you're like their clairvoyant, where they're saying, "Oh, this is
exactly.
my
So you
story."
can do it.
Exactly,
I tell you
exactly.
another thing that
Yeah,
I've found really helpful in my career as a
yeah.
writer is I joined Peninsula Writers Club, which is
Mm.
a fantastic writing group down here on the Mornington Peninsula.
Yeah.
And they have a write-in once a month on a Friday.
Yep.
But there's a group that we will meet down at Hastings Library on a Friday and we write but it's not only even about that, it's about the support of having other authors around you, other people that understand the journey and how
Yes.
hard it is to publish, and that we're not all going to be traditional published authors, but some of them are at
Some are.
Peninsula Writers. So,
Yeah.
it's just getting that group
Yes.
around you that
A support
like-minded
system.
people.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
need that. I think that we need that because I'm sure you've got friends that are not into writing at all, and you've made them through work or you've made them through
Yep.
past experiences. But the friendships that you make through writing are really crucial because I feel like
Abs-
they're the only ones that can get this
yeah.
particular part of your
Yeah.
life.
And
Yeah.
even though you say, "Oh, how do you know that person?" "Oh, well, they're on, my Instagram." What? They're not,
Yeah.
but
Nah.
you can't explain that the Bookstagram community and the authors and everybody, like all the
Mm.
shoreline authors that I've
Yep.
made friends with over the years,
Exactly.
going to Clunes,
Yeah.
all these things
Yes.
really build that little, you're here and you're just building this little network around yourself of
Network. And
people
then you
that get it. And
pass on information to each other.
absolutely.
There's ways to go around it. And of course, if
Yeah.
you want to do your own thing and you want to write solitary and not involve
Yep.
yourself in the community, you can do that as well. But there are a lot of
Absolutely.
benefits if you do put yourself out there. And I know that it's hard for, self-confessed introvert here,
Yep.
even though it might not appear that all the
You
time.
don't seem like it.
No, no, it's there, but being in a space that I feel comfortable in
Yeah.
brings out the confidence and
Yeah.
I guess an extroversion that
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to conjure elsewhere. So you might
No.
be surprised if you put yourself out there and connect with other people, even
Yeah.
just a DM on Instagram. I
Exactly.
guarantee most people will not ignore that if you say, "Hey, I really love your stuff. Like, can you give me some, I don't know, like I'd really be curious about how you wrote this book." People, I know that people would love to answer those questions and all that
Mm.
stuff. So put
And I
yourself out
think
there.
the other thing too, Monica, is that
Mm,
all of course our family and friends love our book,
yeah,
love our writing.
yeah,
It's just a
yeah.
given, isn't it?
It is. It
But
is. Yeah,
when you
yeah.
get that DM, or you get that review from
Yes.
somebody that doesn't know you from a bar of soap, but they've
Yep.
really loved your book, that is when you get aha moment, isn't it? It's when you
Oh, it's
actually say,
special.
"Wow."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still lovely that our family and friends love our
Oh,
books. I'm not
it's
saying,
amazing.
that,
Yes.
but it's just these people don't have to
It's
do
another
this.
layer of it. It's like,
Yeah.
there's like a whole
And it's
world
all
out
about,
there.
and that's building our confidence as
Yes,
writers, isn't it? That,
it is.
you sit here and you really do, sweat and tears.
Yeah,
And I love it when people say, "Oh, I might write a book." I'll go,
exactly. Go
yeah,
for
great.
it. It would be great. We need more. And I don't agree with the sentiment that I've seen around saying, oh, the industry is oversaturated with self-publishing works and all that stuff. And I completely disagree because how can we quantify like creative expression that isn't hurting anyone? It's just us
Exactly.
putting our work out there with our best foot forward and you don't have, I mean, sure, people can argue that's something with like the overconsumption of like TV shows and all that stuff, but people still click on and watch different
They
TV
do.
shows
But
and
Monica,
music.
go
Yeah.
anywhere in the world and walk into a library, and I go, how the hell is my book going to be noticed? Look at all these books, or go into a bookshop. There's
Mm.
just
Yeah.
that's why I think you have to go that little bit extra to
Yeah.
get yourself out there, so that
Sure. Yeah. There's that too, but there's opportunities to do that if you want to take it and do that
exactly. And if you
as well.
don't, and you just want to write your book, that is perfectly fine as well.
That's
I think.
absolutely fine. No, I
Yeah,
totally agree. So
definitely.
I think we have touched on a few of your titles throughout this chat. And I
Mhm.
know I have a question around exploring the themes of healing and love, but
Yeah,
we also talked about how you were inspired by your travels to write some of your
definitely.
books. Could you elaborate a little bit
Yeah,
more
sure.
on the travels and inspiration?
Interestingly enough, I hadn't been to Japan when I wrote Not My Father. So there was a lot of
Okay.
Googling, a lot of YouTubing Tokyo and all that. So, and that
Mm,
I think people that read Not My Father
mm.
really think that I had been there and,
Oh,
that all of
interesting.
this. So
No.
where I did go to Japan a couple of years ago, and it was a really very emotional moment, especially being in
Mm,
Hiroshima, seeing
mm.
the A bomb, seeing
Yeah.
all, going to the Peace Park and everything like that. It was a
Yeah.
really wonderful moment for me.
Mm.
But, I hadn't been there. But the Ties That Binds set in Vietnam, and I've been to Vietnam quite a few times. And a lot of, I really, and you'd know this, or maybe fantasies writing's different, but for me, when I get to something like if, say, Lara's a teacher in Riverbend, or the Ties That Bind set, they're having a cocktail on the Rex
Yeah.
rooftop in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
And, I can visualize that because I've been there, and, I find that really easy to,
Yeah.
to write. So that's
Yeah.
like a quick win for me,
Yeah.
because, yeah, and anything to do with teaching is easy
Oh,
for me to write as well. So,
great.
yeah, so no, travel definitely. And I actually had started a book, another historical romance, and it
Mm.
was about Debbie, the girl that I travelled with in London
Mm.
and
Your poor
Israel and
broken
everything. And
leg.
it was about us going on a kibbutz, and I was like 25,000 words into it when Gaza happened and everything that
Ah,
happened. So I literally had to shelve that. I
yeah.
just couldn't go there.
Mhm.
But then I turned it a little bit into another place I'd been to, Laos. And
Oh,
so it's about like a girl in the army, Jessica, and she does the unexploded, because Laos is the most bombed place during the war
yeah.
for its size.
God.
And there's a lot of unexploded ordnance devices there.
Wow.
And so she
Mm.
works for the army. But that's another historical romance that
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
writing at the moment. So,
Oh, I'm very curious
yeah.
about
So
that.
travel, yeah, means
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Yes. Do you have any
Yeah,
plans to travel this year or next year,
got a
maybe?
couple of yeah, got a couple of places. So,
Wow, that's very exciting. You've
yeah.
got them all
So,
booked
no,
in.
very exciting.
Gosh, I think maybe we're going to see some more travel stories maybe coming out of
Yeah.
there. So,
And I enjoy writing when I'm traveling.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I find, yeah, that's really a relaxing thing. I know Japan, I wrote a short story, and I wrote that on the bullet trains
Oh,
and
wow.
things like that, so
Oh, that's
keeps,
amazing.
yeah. I went to Tasmania this year, and
Yep.
went across on the Spirit of Tasmania, and I
Oh,
was writing on that,
long
so
journey.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
great.
you find you can take your job. take it with you?
Yes, you can. You can. And I
Mm.
definitely know when I'm going to be in Adelaide. I think we're doing a little writing session at this, not the State Library, I think the Adelaide Library on the Sunday. We're
Oh,
going to do that.
beautiful.
A few people in the writing community, we're going to do that. And then when I'm on the plane, I'll get out my iPad and do some
Yeah,
drawings. So
yeah,
it's very
wonderful.
transferable and
And that's the thing, I never feel bored. Like
yeah.
John, my husband, he was like, "Oh my God, when are we getting off this boat?" But
Oh,
I was like, "Oh no, I can stay on here,
that's
forever,
right. I know I
just
can do that on
writing,
planes
reading."
too. It's just, I think sometimes a boat is better because you can move around, but with the planes,
Yeah,
I do struggle to sit in one spot. I could do the
yes,
work, but it's
yeah,
hard to
I know.
sit for
Especially if
that
you're like
long.
me and you're an economy
Oh yeah,
girl.
I've never been in business.
No,
One day I'd love to go
one
on a
day.
business class
Yeah.
flight. I love watching like flight reviews and other stuff on YouTube. I don't know whether you've seen some of those, but some of the first class flights that I've seen, I'm just like, wow, in my wildest dreams, could I
Yeah,
imagine
I
doing
know.
something
I
like that?
couldn't
But
imagine sleeping on a plane, but
no,
anyway,
I've never.
like flat.
I've never been able
Yeah,
to sleep on a plane unless
no,
I manage to steal a row of four seats that don't have anyone on it, and then I slept for maybe 45 minutes.
never ever have had that happen to me in all my
Oh, wow.
traveling. So,
Gosh, funny, isn't it?
yeah,
No, but that
yeah,
is very exciting how travel is going to continue inspiring
yes,
your writing because I know that there's a lot of different stories probably in your mind about these kind of things.
definitely.
But
Yeah,
I do want to touch on your pivot into the middle grade genre
yes,
because it's very exciting. So, this is your latest publication.
it is. So this
Yeah.
came out in October
Yep.
last
October
year.
last year,
Last year.
2025.
Yeah, so it was just finishing. That was my last year of teaching.
Yeah.
Having said
Mm,
that, I have been back a couple of times to do CRT and
yeah.
keep my hand in and
I'm
say hi to
sure
everybody. And
you
yeah,
want to get involved and do all
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
100%. And
Yeah.
of course, when I think about it, I was always going to write a middle grade book. Like I
Yeah,
taught
right.
middle grade for so long.
Yep. Hmm.
But a couple of years ago, I had a really reluctant group of readers and writers, and
Interesting.
boys, mainly
Boys.
boys,
Hmm.
and they were COVID, kids
Yes, I was
as
just
well.
going
And right,
to
like
check
I
on that.
was
Mm,
teaching during COVID online,
yeah.
and teaching grade one, twos. Oh my God, it was a nightmare.
It's
So I
just,
take my hat off to all the parents out there. But
mm,
so they really struggled with
yep.
writing,
Wow.
especially. So we started writing just for the fun of writing,
Yeah.
and getting them to tell a story. And I started writing a chapter for them a week, and they'd come in. Oh, they'd be all excited on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Mrs. K's going to write her next chapter, read her next chapter. And look, I know they love me anyway, but they
Yeah.
love the book and they love the
Oh,
story.
yeah.
And I know that they're my little circle of people. Of course they're going to love anything I do,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they really loved it. And oh my gosh, I had so much fun writing it. It was the
Yes.
funniest book to write. I decided to put the riddles in, because I'm thinking, oh, this is a bit boring. What would kids want? And there
Yep.
was like a riddle hunt they had to go on to find an heirloom that an old
Mm.
lady in a haunted house had
Oh, yeah.
misplaced through dementia,
Kids love
that
that.
type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and there was a kid called Roo at my school who had come and then he'd left. And I just thought, that is the coolest name. Like
Rue.
I think his name was Rupert or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I just thought, if ever I've got a little boy character, it's got to be Roo.
Rue. Yep.
And I
Yep.
had all different names for this one, but then he say, because it's set in the 70s. So
Yep.
crikey was a big thing, he'd always saying
Yep.
crikey
It's
this
very
and
Aussie,
crikey that.
isn't it? Very Aussie.
Very Aussie. So I
Yeah.
thought crikey Roo.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so it's really about just a group of four boys and a girl. They roam the suburbs on their
On their bikes.
dragster bikes. They rescue a little dog. Like there's just all little adventures happening. But
Adventures.
they come home when the lights come on.
Yep.
That's their
Yep.
curfew.
That's the curfew.
And yeah, just really good friends. A lot of bullies at the school, and
Yeah.
you know,
Mm.
just Yeah,
Mm.
and there's quite a bit of my teaching in there as well, things that I'd seen in the playground. And,
Yeah.
I remember, the marble season where you'd look out and there'd be this sea of kids just like
Doing
crawling
marbles.
around on the oval with their marbles. And,
Yeah.
they don't do that now. There's
Yeah, they
marbles,
don't.
marbles aren't a thing,
No,
but
no.
yeah,
Maybe
so
they'll
that
come
was a
back.
really fun to write.
Yeah.
And it was also, useful
Yeah.
because my kids loved it, my school class loved it.
Yeah.
And then because it came out at the end of last year, my community were very supportive, and I did quite a few talks on it,
Oh,
and
great.
library sessions, and
Perfect.
yeah, so it was really perfect.
You're
It was
putting yourself
really
out there. Clear
oh,
example of that. Yeah.
I'm not an introvert, but I'm shy. And so, and people go, but you're a teacher, cool, but no, I get really nervous when I have
Yeah.
to do those talks. Maybe not so much the library ones, but if I do like a view
Yeah.
talk or whatever, to a group of
Absolutely.
women,
Yep.
I find that can be intimidating,
Yep.
but
It's very
everyone's
normal.
just so nice.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Once you realize that you got nothing to
yeah,
lose by just participating, nothing's terrible's going to happen. You just go there and you just enjoy
exactly.
yourself. So
Yeah.
the school that you worked in, do they have, they must have copies of your book
Oh,
in the
yes. Yeah. And the
yeah.
library. And that's another thing about, I don't,
Yeah.
we're very supported down here on the peninsula. Like,
Oh,
we
that's
have some
great.
fantastic independent book thing. And
Yes.
the first time I had to go to Peterson's bookstore in Hastings,
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God, I've got to walk in there with my books. But they're just wonderful. So there's,
Yeah.
um, Peterson's in Hastings are very supportive. We've got a Tippities in down in Sorrento,
Yep.
Rosebud Book Barn in Rosebud, and then there's the Dear Reader in Tyab, and there's the new one in Mount Eliza, by the sea or something, I think it's called. So
Wow.
all these places have all our books,
That's
all the authors.
beautiful.
They'll make room for
Make
their local
room.
authors,
I love
and
that.
it's
That's
just
so
wonderfully
important.
supported. And the libraries down here are amazing.
Yes, the libraries too. I think
Yep,
we shouldn't forget the power of the libraries because
yep,
it is something that's so accessible for people to go to and pick up their books, and it's just one easy way to get your story out
yeah,
there that can keep
yeah.
regenerating.
Yeah. And, if you get, once again, this Instagram thing, if you can put a post on that your book's in the library, they, oh, she must be actually a real writer,
I
if her book's in
know.
the library and in
Gosh,
a bookshop,
that real
you know.
writer thing. Oh my
Yeah,
God, it's so funny. It's so funny,
I
which
know.
of course, I mean, I'll be very quick to push back and say, if you've written a book, you are a writer.
You're a
No
writer.
problem, no problem at all. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is something that is seen and favored highly if you have your books in the library because it just
yeah,
opens up so many doors. And I really love community libraries for that because they do support the community. And the peninsula, the Mornington Peninsula, is so great for that. And I think if there was
oh, they're
anywhere that I
wonderful
would
down here.
love to live other than where I'm in the southeast suburbs of Melbourne, it'd be down on the peninsula, probably Hastings
Mm,
or Flinders.
yeah,
I love
yep,
Flinders. It's very rugged, as in like compared
yeah.
to the other side of
Oh,
the
yeah,
Bay
yeah,
Area. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's so
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful
So
spot for
nice.
you to be there. So I'm
Yeah,
sure it will also inspire some writing as well in the future.
definitely.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So, looking ahead to the future projects, you have already mentioned that you kind of have one.
Back to historical romance, back to a dual timeline.
Yeah,
Which
nice.
I really enjoy, and I really enjoy the researching of, war.
Mm.
And for some reason, I write about wars. I don't know why in my historical, Vietnam War and
Well, they're
the
pivotal. Yeah.
Japan, and yeah,
It
so
shapes a lot of how society moves forward from something so devastating. And I think
yeah,
when you read wartime books and stories from that, I think you can see a big rawness of the humanity and the compassion that comes out in real dire circumstances.
yeah,
So
definitely,
I love reading that stuff.
yes.
Mm, mm. I
So
think that was very exciting to see
yeah,
that
and
come
I've
out.
I've thought about when at one of my talks I did for Crikey Roo,
Yeah.
I said to the kids, "So what do you think?" The next, and the little kid put his hand up and said, "What about Crikey Roo and the carnival?"
Oh,
Down at Rosebud we have, the
oh,
carnival down there, and I went,
yes.
"Oh, okay." So that sort of could is on the cards a little bit too.
I think that would be awesome. Maybe each time you
Yeah,
do CRT and then you can hear what
yeah,
the kids are talking about, or maybe when you
exactly.
spend time with grandchildren, because you have one grandchild, is that
I've got
right?
one little girl, she's
Yeah,
3,
yeah,
Harper, and I've
yeah.
got another one on the way, so she's
Mm.
due in June, so we're very, very happy.
Almost
Harper keeps us on our
time.
toes.
Wow, it's so
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, we've got to keep them on the toes. So then you'll
Oh,
be probably reminiscing and hearing their discussions. The grandchildren will talk about their stuff, and then Crikey
yeah,
Roo can just
exactly.
keep on going. That's so
Yeah.
exciting to hear. So with your current work in progress, do you have a prospective date or year when you want it to come out?
Look, I'd like it to be finished this year.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
and
great.
maybe published next year. So, um,
Soon.
yeah, and I'm just starting, I'm like at 10,000 words. So
Yep.
I'm just starting to get into it, and it's just starting to consume me, and, to be in my thoughts the whole time and trying to get that twist that I love to get.
I know.
So,
I love a good twist
yeah,
as well. I think this is
yeah.
so exciting. And with your travels that you're going to be going on this year, with all of that, I'm sure there'll be more and more and more stories. You're not slowing down
Oh,
anytime
hopefully.
soon. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Well, I did
So,
retire because I wanted
well,
to
yeah.
make this. So, and
Yes.
I mean, I've been listening to lots of podcasts that you've done and different things. And I
Oh,
think, oh my God, these poor ladies, or and men,
yeah, yeah,
they've
right.
got five, work 9 till 5, 5 days a week. They've got little kids, and then they've got to go and
Yes.
write. So I'm blessed really in what I can do now at this
Yeah.
end.
And
Yeah.
I think with the people that have children in particular, I am so inspired by how they are so dedicated to their
Mm.
creative passion, because it really is something that is you're owning your own creative passions, but it's something for yourself too that's away from the family stuff that you
And it
have to
takes a
do.
huge dedication, doesn't it? Huge
Yes.
dedication from them.
But it's personal, and it's maybe an
Yeah.
escape too, and it's
Yeah.
possible. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing, is that it is very much achievable to be able to write whenever you can, when you are self-published, and get it out there. And a lot of
Yep.
my friends in the book community have children, multiple children, working, and still go to these book events and have a great
Yep.
time, and it's
Yep.
possible, and it's so
Yes.
exciting to see. And that's something that they will probably carry through to their retirement. And imagine them
Exactly.
then.
I know.
More
They'll be
books.
like me.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Exactly. They'll be like
finding
you.
other things to do instead of sitting at the desk.
That's exactly right. There's
Mhm.
no slowing down, and it's so exciting to see. So
Yeah.
looking ahead into maybe some more um personable encounters that people might expect. Can we expect to see you at any events, or are you doing anything
Um,
public facing?
Trying to think. I've been doing a lot of view events. I've got the terminology
Nice.
written down somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
voice, interest, and education of women. And I
Oh,
found that that's sort of like my demographic. It's women that volunteer and they raise money for,
yeah.
to educate women, other,
Yeah.
less advantaged women, I
Yep.
suppose. It's part of the Smith family.
Yep.
And they have invited me. I've done 3 talks and I've got 2 more to go, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Like it was like the middle aisle of Aldi, my
Yep.
last one, where they were just like grabbing my books. I even sold out of Crikey Roo and Not My Father. I've had to go and order more, but
Amazing.
my sister was with me, and she's like, oh, it was just manic,
That's
but they
amazing.
they just loved it.
That's so
So
cool to see
so
that.
I've
Yeah.
done. I'll be doing a few of those.
Nice. Yeah.
Probably no, nothing
Yeah.
else
You're
coming
busy
up.
with other
Yeah,
things, other
yeah.
travel related
Yeah,
activities as
I've got a
well.
writing, weekend sort of coming up,
Ooh,
which I've never done that before.
like a
Peninsula
retreat.
Writers are having it. It's, like you
Yep.
down at Phillip Island,
Oh,
and I'm
beautiful.
doing the weekend.
Yes.
But it goes for 5 days, but I'm only doing the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that because I've never
Yeah.
done a writing retreat. That's what I was looking for,
Yes.
writing retreat before.
No,
So,
I've
you know,
never
there's
done
lots
that
of
either.
fun things happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So excited for
yeah.
you. And for people that want to perhaps reach you online, do you have Instagram, is that right? Do you
Yeah,
have other social
I've got
medias?
yeah, no, I have Facebook, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't really use it as
Yep.
much, but Instagram's my sort of platform really. So
Yep.
Julie K Author.
Yep.
And then I've got if you go to Julie K Author Google site, that's sort of like my website.
That's your website. Yep. I've got that
Yeah,
open
and
there.
it's got, you know, it's got quite a few of my short stories on there that if people were interested.
Yep.
Um,
I can see
and
some at
also
the
all
top.
about my books and how to buy them, and they're online as well. So
Perfect. I think you've got everything sorted. Well, with
I hope
that,
so.
I should wrap up our fantastic chat that we've had today. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to
Oh,
all
thank
the
you.
ways you've been inspired by your life experiences and some spiritual intervention too,
Yeah.
to right. I mean,
Yeah.
you're preaching to the choir here for someone who loves tarot and astrology and all
Yeah.
that stuff. You know, I love
Yeah.
it. I think it's very powerful. And look at where you are now because
I
you
know. If that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, Monica.
exactly.
So there you
How
go.
special. How special is
Yeah.
that? So thank you, Julie, for
Oh, thank
all
you for
of
having
what.
me.
Oh, anytime, friend of the show. We'll have you back when when we can slot you in because
Thank
yeah,
So
busy times.
busy.
Busy, busy,
Yeah.
busy, but
Crazy
that's
busy.
but I enjoy it and I think you do too. And I think that's just what
Yeah.
we do because we've got so much freedom to just go ahead
That's right.
and make our stories accessible and put ourselves out there, even though it feels uncomfortable, we do it anyway. So thank
We
you,
do.
Julie.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. Thank you so much for watching the Indie Author Live show. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to know more about my own literary journey or the journey of some of our guests that you might have seen on the show, please consider subscribing or following my Substack or my YouTube channel. Finally, if you want to know more about my novel, Still Waters Run Deep, it is available on many distribution websites such as Amazon, Etsy, Baventi, you name it. All that information will be in the show notes if you're interested in learning more about my story to do with elemental magic and coming of age. Take care, everyone, and see you in the next episode.